let's look at other societies that would begin to exist in the far west as the West was settled. Um, if you've ever been across Texas, you will see that there are various towns all over that have somewhat of a European ethnicity about them. Fredericksburg, New Braunfels, Munster, Castroville, West, East Bernard, Dible, Panna Maria. Every single one of those towns that I just mentioned was settled by Eastern European settlers that came to Texas in the 1800s, and they founded various little towns that had a mirror image of much of their European mindset. Okay, Texas was a big source for those. If you've ever been to Texas and you've been to peach festivals and the beds and breakfasts, the wineries out there in the hill country, you'll see it. If you've ever been to Green Hall, you've been two-stepping out there outside of Green Hall and Green outside of New Braunfels. Okay, that's German towns. Okay, you have German settlers who set that up and settled in those areas. Lukenbach. Okay, Shiner, Texas. If you've ever enjoyed a Shiner Bock, well, Shiner, Texas was founded and settled by Czech settlers. Okay, same thing with West and Caldwell. Those are Czech towns. Dible, Panna Maria, those were towns established by Polish immigrants and settlers. Okay? So you have new settlers leaving their European stations, coming to the United States, settling in various different parts of the American West, especially in Texas, where they would be able to practice their faith. Many of them were Catholic, by the way, and they would be able to create a new, not necessarily a colony, but just a new establishment. If you've ever been to Fredericksburg, you kind of see this is German architecture. Okay, New Braunfels. Okay, named after Braunfels. Okay, and it's not Braunfels, it's New Braunfels. Okay, I see a lot of people get that mixed up. But if you've ever been to towns like that, you understand this has got like a European flair. Okay, that's for a reason. And you have settlers that would come from all over various different corners of the American East as well. You had a number of New Yorkers, folks in Pennsylvania, Virginia, who would be looking for new opportunities to leave New England. Maybe they are encouraged to find different stations. As true in American history from our colonial days, if you don't like your station in life, you have the opportunity and mobility to do something else somewhere else, if that makes sense. You have the opportunity for social mobility. Go west. You've got all kinds of different land and opportunity out there. There's gold, there's buffalo, there is land, there are the mines. You might have to speak a little Spanish every now and then. Okay, here you go. The United States government, in order to encourage settlement of the West, enacted the Homestead Act. The Homestead Act allowed for tracts of about 160 acres or so to be purchased at a minimal cost. So, under the agreement, those who are purchasing that land would irrigate, they would grow crops, they would do various different things, conduct ranching operations, anything else like that on that land that they agreed to purchase. So if they settled that land for the specified and contracted amount of time and they met their obligation, they paid a minimum price for it. Oftentimes $1.25 an acre. Okay? Now I know $1.25 back in the 1870s is a lot different than what it is today. Okay? But that's still good. Gosh, can you imagine buying 160 acres for, gosh, cheap? Okay? Imagine if you paid $1.25 for land now. I'd buy the whole state. Gosh. Or I'd go into debt to do so, right? Okay? Otherwise, though, you have people that were encouraged to settle the West, to grow crops, to start ranch operations, to form new little towns and ghost towns and dust ups that could now help settle the West. Okay? So the Homestead Act has a lot to do with that. Now, some of you might wonder where the term Sooner comes from, like the Oklahoma Sooners. Okay? Boomer! Sooner! You ever been to anywhere in Dallas, like the weekend that they played Texas down at the State Fair? It's nothing but Texas, fight, Boomer, Sooner. It's the most annoying weekend in Dallas. Oh, God, it's awful. Okay? The term Sooner comes from people who, during the Homestead Act era, actually raced to get to various different parts of Oklahoma to claim land before it actually became available for claim. They got there sooner than everybody else. Essentially, they're like stealing land. That's what they're doing. Okay? So when you see that Sooner schooner going around and you see them racing out there, yeah, they're trying to get there sooner before everyone else can claim land. Now you know. Okay? Boomer, Sooner, shut up. Okay. Otherwise, though, you have other western states that are now applying for statehood. Montana, Wyoming, Colorado. Utah, around that time, had been settled by the Mormons. Of course, John Smith and Brigham Young had left their establishment in Illinois because of religious persecution. They settled in modern-day Utah. They had been denied statehood until they officially disallowed polygamy, marrying more than one spouse. And then once they were able to do so, now they could be entered into the United States as an official state. Okay, that happened in 1896. So you now have various different settlements going on, various different reasons why, and you also have intermixing with Hispanics and Chinese immigrants and miners and railroads and all kinds of stuff that's going on out west. Okay?